So, what happens when you take a craft that's hundreds of years old, something that's all about skill, precision, and pure muscle memory, and you smash it together with the latest in artificial intelligence? I mean, can an algorithm really help you master a skill passed down through generations? Well, that's exactly the fascinating question we're going to dig into. But before we even get to the tech, we have to get our heads in the right space. One of our sources just nails it with this quote. This isn't about learning fast. This is a serious process. We're not talking about a weekend DIY project here. This is a true discipline, and it demands absolute dedication. So, what is this craft we're talking about? Well, we're diving into the world of standing seam roofing. And look, this is not just about nailing down some shingles. It is a super high-level trade with a really rich history. And it's all built on the German school of thought, which is just legendary for its insane attention to detail.
And this thing you're looking at, this is the heart of it all. It's called a universal roofing trainer. Think of it like a flight simulator, but for roofers. It's not a real roof, it's a practice rig that mimics every single complicated angle and joint you'd ever find, so apprentices can practice the really tough stuff over and over and over again.
Okay, so what is it exactly? Well, standing seam roofing, or Falz roofing, is a method where these big metal panels are connected using interlocking seams. These folds or seams get crimped together so tightly that they create a perfectly waterproof seal. It's beautiful, it lasts forever, but wow, is it tricky to get right. So how in the world do you get good at this? The path for an apprentice is long. It's demanding, and it's all built on this one simple idea. First you watch, and then you do. And here's where the training is just pure genius. Apprentices don't actually start with that expensive metal. No way. They start with paper. You can see it in these diagrams from the original manual. They fold and cut paper to get the complex geometry down first. It's a brilliant way to make all your mistakes on the cheap before you ever touch the real costly stuff. The official training path is intense. It's a whole program that kicks off with an online theory course called Falz Start. Then you move on to Falz Master, which is a 15-day hands-on in-person workshop. And for the folks who want to become true masters, there's Falz Master Plus, a 40-day deep dive into the absolute hardest techniques. So what does this kind of expertise cost? Well, the whole shebang, training, tools, materials, runs about 280,000 Russian rubles. To put that in perspective for you, that's roughly 4,000 US dollars. It's a serious investment. And time-wise, you're looking at a solid 3 to 4 months of nothing but dedicated, focused study. So the bottom line is clear, becoming a master takes a huge commitment of both time and money. That's the mountain to climb. Now, let's look at a totally new way to climb it. Okay, so we've laid out the challenge, right? You've got this mountain of dense technical manuals, you've got video lessons, complex diagrams. How can any apprentice soak all that up? This is where the story takes a really cool turn. Meet Google's NotebookLM. Now, this is not just another chatbot that scans the entire internet. You need to think of it more like your own personal AI librarian, a librarian that has only read the books and documents you've given it, and it knows them inside and out. So what's the big deal? Well, first off, it only works with your stuff. But the real game changer is this. It doesn't just make things up. Because its entire world is the material you gave it, it can give you a precise citation for every single answer, pointing you to the exact spot where it found the info. And this is a huge deal because it's designed to solve one of the biggest headaches with most AI tools, hallucinations. That's when an AI just confidently makes something up that's completely wrong because it's trying to pull an answer from the messy, chaotic, and sometimes just plain false world of the open internet. Here's the easiest way to think about it. A general AI is kind of like shouting a question into a massive, crowded stadium. You might get a brilliant answer, or you might get total garbage. NotebookLM, on the other hand, is your personal librarian who just calmly walks you over to the shelf, pulls out the right book, and points to the exact page and paragraph you need. All right, so we've got the ancient craft on one side and this brand new tool on the other. How do they actually fit together? How can this AI librarian actually help you bend a piece of metal? The whole process is actually incredibly simple. First, the apprentice just gathers up all their learning materials, the manuals, the guides, even video lessons. Step 2, they upload everything into NotebookLM, creating this one central brain for all their knowledge. And then step 3, they just start asking it questions, turning all those static documents into a dynamic, interactive conversation.
So for instance, an apprentice could take this entire Russian self-study guide. What used to be this dense, kind of intimidating PDF is suddenly a living database. It's not just a book anymore. It's basically a personal tutor that you can talk to 24/7. And the practical uses are just incredible. An apprentice can ask, hey, explain what a T-grubbin Falz is, but like, I'm 5. They can tell it to watch a long training video and spit out a step-by-step guide. It can even compare techniques from 2 different schools of roofing. It can even quiz you. All of a sudden, studying isn't passive anymore. It's an active dialogue.
And all of this brings us to one last really big question. As AI makes knowledge basically instant, what's the real value of a slow manual skill? Well, maybe the answer is that tools like this don't replace the deep satisfaction of mastering a craft with your own 2 hands. They just clear the path a little and help us get there faster.